Hi, in this video we are going to introduce you to the topic of polynomials. This is lesson 1, your introduction. The lesson intention is to be able to use a thing called a nested table or synthetic division to find the value of a polynomial for a given value of x. So we're just going to familiarise ourselves today with this thing called a nested table. But first of all, we need to tell you really what is a polynomial. So this thing here in blue is your polynomial. Okay, now you'll notice I've got all these different letters going on, your A, B, C, Ds, etc. They are called coefficients. They are the numbers in front of your x terms, okay? So that's a fancy word for them. Now if you look at the x's, you'll notice it starts with a power n, and the next one is a power n minus 1. That means it's a power lower. N minus 2 is a power lower again, and so on. Eventually we get down to x squared x, and then your end term here is just a constant, there's no x at all. So a classic polynomial, think of, is a quadratic. You must have spent ages at National 5 doing quadratics of the form x squared, let's say 2x squared plus 3x plus 1. That is a polynomial of degree 2 because the highest power of that polynomial is x squared, okay? And as you work your way down, it goes x squared, x with a lower power, and then x with a lower power would be x to the 0, which is just 1. So that's why it's just a number on the end. So this is a polynomial of degree 2. We're going to start looking at cubic functions and things with higher powers. So this second one here, 5x cubed minus 4x squared plus x minus 2, is a cubic function, and it has a degree of 3 because the highest x term is x cubed. And then the last one is 10x to the power 7, and hopefully we never see one like that, but it has a degree of 7 because it's the highest x term. Okay, now just to point out, there isn't always going to be a cubed, a squared, an x. Sometimes one of the terms is missing out, and that's really important to be on the lookout for always, okay? So what we're going to do today is we're going to work out some values of polynomials. Now the most standard way of doing it is look at how you would have done it at Nat 5. If we gave you the function f of x equal this thing here, and I asked you to find f of 2, you'd be, oh well, that's just plugging in x is 2. So this is what we're going to do here. So if we plug in x is 2, you end up with 2 to the power 4 plus 2 times 2 squared minus 3 times 2 plus 5. Which tidies up to 16. 2 squared is 4, times 2 is 8. Take away 6 plus 5. And altogether that is 23. So when x is 2, our answer comes out at 23. Now that's National 5. We're now doing higher. So we're going to look at this method, an alternative method called a nested table. Okay, and it is also sometimes known as synthetic division. But normally when I teach it to pupils and they say, oh, is it that wee table thing? So yeah, it's a nested table to make it a bit simpler. So this is what the table looks like. And what you do is, so the number here, this value of 2 comes from this here. That's the number we are plugging into our polynomial. And what we do is we take all the coefficients of our polynomial. So for example, our x power 4 became a 1 because there's a secret number 1 in front of that. The next term is 0 because you'll notice that here we are missing an x cubed term. So I put a 0 there. Remember I said that's going to be really important if there's a term missing. And I've just put a wee note at the side here. We put a 0 there because there is no x cubed term in our polynomial. Then the 2 comes from your 2x squared. The minus 3 comes from the minus 3x. Signs are important as well. You've been taught this since first year. The sign in front always belongs with the coefficient. And then the 5 comes from there. Okay? So literally go along your polynomial and you put each coefficient, each number in front of your x into the table. And if there's a term missing, that becomes a 0. Here comes the actual working bit now. So here is what we do. If I've asked you to find the value when x is 2, we put a 2 in front. You bring down the number 1 and you write the number 1 below the table. And then what we do is we multiply the numbers at the bottom by the 2. So we do 2 times 1 is 2. That goes in there. Then we add the 0 and the 2 together. 0 add 2 gives us 2. We then times that by 2 again, and this number comes up here and becomes 4, because 2 times 2 is 4. We then add the 2 and the 4 together, giving us 6. We times that by 2, making it 12. Minus 3 plus 12 gives us 9. 2 times 9 is 18. And 5 plus 18 gives us 23. Now, if you remember, just a second ago on another slide, when I plugged in straight of f of 2, I got the answer of 23. There I've come out with the number 23 again. So just to prove that this works both ways. And you might be thinking, oh, that's a really long-winded way to go, but that's the way we're going to have to go now that we're in higher maths, because we're going to do extra wee bits to it. We're not going to just ask you to plug in numbers and find a value at the end. There's an extra step to it coming up, okay? This is just practicing getting used to the table. Let's look at a second one. So in this one, we're looking for f of minus 1. So we're going to put the stuff into the table together. So remember, the number we're plugging in goes at the front. So minus 1 goes out front. That's what we're going to multiply all by the time. We then take each term and put it into the table. So our x to the power 4 had a 3 in front. Our x cubed had a 2 in front. Our x squared had a 6 in front. Now there's no x term there, so we're going to put in a 0. And then we had a 4 on the end. Okay, now there's no negatives in this one, so that makes it a wee bit nicer. However, we are multiplying by -1. So step 1, bring the 3 down. So we've got 3. We multiply by -1, making it -3. You add these two rows together, so 2 take away 3 is -1. You multiply that by -1, turning it into +1. 6 add 1 is 7. You multiply it by -1, makes it -7. You add them together, it's -7. You multiply that by -1. -1 times -7 is just +7 again. And then 4 add 7 is 11. So this is our answer that we come out with. So f of -1 equals 11. Okay, so I hope you followed that. Okay, so this is just the first wee exercise we're going to do. Just to get used to doing this table method. So if you have got the TJ textbook, this is the questions I would recommend for my class to do. I'd get them to go to page 109 and start question 2, just doing parts A, C and E, and then we'd do question 3 every second question. There's no need to do every single one unless you feel you need that extra bit of practice. Thanks for watching.